Great. Thank you very much, and thank you for your attendance. I'm pretty excited to be here to talk about Kaiser. It's a slightly unusual story. We are a small, fairly new company, and we are in production, and I'm pleased to say that we've started to make some real breakthroughs, which I'm hoping to share with you now. So the key focus for the company is the high-grade Victorian goldfields, and all the assets that you see here are owned 100% by us. And on the leases, we have historic production of 2.5 million ounces at pretty high grades. We are in gold production right now. We consider we have some fantastic exploration upside, which I will try and convince you of shortly. We've got a really talented operations team. Some of it's been bolstered very recently with some great results shining through already. And I won't tell you we're undervalued, but our market capitalisation is about $28 million, and that gives an enterprise value of around $20 million, which I think makes us a pretty reasonably priced gold producer. We're composed of three assets, really, that we're focused on. The first is the MALDON goldfield. And MALDON's situated between Ballarat and Bendigo, and historically it produced more gold than Ballarat did, in fact, from underground mining. It's produced over 2 million ounces in the field at 28 grams a tonne, and it hasn't really been given modern exploration. So this is what we're doing right now. We have a drill rig there. And I'll talk a bit more about that shortly. The second key asset we have is the A1 gold mine, possibly Australia's longest running gold mine. It's been running since 1861, and it has been primarily in the last several years mining remnant ore, not bad remnant ore. We've managed to ramp up our production, and last quarter we actually were operationally profitable for the first time. We've had a fabulous growth curve if you look at our last quarterly, and we delivered a head grade of over 9.5 grams a tonne gold, so pretty high grade ore as well. And then the third asset that's very valuable to us is the MALDON gold processing plant. We own that 100%. It would be a difficult process to permit a new gold processing plant in Victoria, and there are a lot of explorers around us, so we think that gives us a lot of latent value. I've only got 10 minutes, and this is not a 10-minute slide, so I'll actually skip over that one and talk a little bit about MALDON. So within our leases, 1.74 million ounces at 28 grams a tonne gold. I've removed the alluvial gold component there. It's on a granted mining licence. It has an established modern decline with power and ventilation that runs over 2 kilometres underneath the town there, and it's only 2 kilometres from our processing plant. So this gives us a fantastic opportunity to leverage any exploration success into rapid production, and that's the plan. We have a diamond drill rig there at the moment. It's been going for some time, and I'll show you where it's actually been focusing on once I talk a bit more. Very quickly, I'll just mention that the Bendigo domain is probably all well known to you. It's having produced 79 million ounces of gold. Despite that extraordinary production, it really hasn't been a popular domain in Australia for a long time. And a lot of that has come down to, I guess, just a disinterest in high-grade and narrow vein operations. It's really taken the Kirkland Lake Fosterville operations to turn that interest around. And up until 2003, Fosterville had only produced 290,000 ounces of gold. So it really is a modern success story in this goldfield. And I think there's quite a lot more opportunity in the whole of the Victorian goldfield going forward. This is a plan view which highlights, I guess, where the lines of load sit in relation to each other. It's very coarse gold, and this is a photo of the drilling that's going on. I think this image is quite powerful. It shows you the decline that's been established and those loads. Some of these loads are significant, nearly 500,000 ounces at the Eagle Hawk Reef. On the left side, left side there, yes. You'll see the Nuggety Reef. That Nuggety Reef is the confluence of a high-grade Victorian gold field hitting a granite unit that appears to have caused some remobilisation. And the Nuggety Reef produced 301,000 ounces at 187 grams a tonne, making it a pretty extraordinary mine. And if you look down plunge, there's been very, very little testing, and we have been drilling there recently and we'll continue that. This is a plan view. Unfortunately, it doesn't include the Nuggety Reef, which is very exciting, but it also shows what I consider are a large amount of ore grade intercepts down here. And remember, if the grade's high enough, it doesn't have to be a wide lode. 1 metre at 20 grams is the same as 2 at 10. We're mining 1 metre lodes at the A1 and making good money out of it. And you can see at the bottom here some really spectacular grades and mineable widths. So once we've completed the drilling down on the southern end there, where there was a historic resource, we're intending to reinstate that in the near future. And we're doing a fair bit of drilling down there. We're then planning to step out and start targeting down plunge of some of these magnificent high-grade shoots. And personally, I don't see any reason why they won't continue. The drilling that I just showed you clearly shows that they do continue with very high-grade mineralisation. So I really think this is an outstanding opportunity. And like I said, it's 2 kilometres from our mill. It's on a mining licence, and that decline has ventilation and power. So if I move on to the A1 mine, the A1 mine has produced 500,000 ounces at 26 grams a tonne of gold. That's recovered. It actually lost a bit in the old days. It was probably closer to an ounce a tonne at the head grade. And we have been really focusing on turning this operation around. It's been in care and maintenance mode, and we're trying to ramp up that production. As I said, last quarter we delivered 9.6 grams a tonne to the mill. I'm pleased to say that this month to date we're exceeding 23 grams a tonne, and the mill can barely keep up with the gold pours. So pretty exciting turnaround in the operations there. And part of the reason for that is that we're getting to deeper levels. We're getting to levels where the old timers couldn't ventilate, couldn't deliver power. And we're taking a diamond drill rig back here. We have delivered some spectacular results in the near recent past, and you'll see some of those down here, nearly 4 metres at 60 grams, 12 at 24, 20 at 12. Some of that stuff's the kind of stuff that we're seeing going through the mill. So really exciting gold project. It's an unusual ore body. It's not a typical Victorian sedimentary hosted. This is sitting in a diorite dike. And what we've done is a couple of really deep diamond drill holes through the middle there of that porphyry to show the diorite to show that it continues. And we've got it hundreds of metres below where we're operating right now. And we're right on the edge of where the old timers were. And some of the reason the gold grades have just shot through the roof with where we're mining is because we're hitting lodes that were missed. And once every time we go deeper, we find more of them. We're also heading towards a thing called the Queen's Lode, which sits at depth. It's a big altered broad alteration zone within the diorite, and it's quite low grade by comparison at around anywhere between 5 and 8 grams a tonne. We just loaded and fired our first shot there, and that will potentially see our production go up a lot in the very near future. We don't have reserves, so I can't give you any guidance, unfortunately. But maybe at the bar later. You can see other dikes here as well, and we're quite excited by the potential here. You can see the A1 dike has been the target of all the historic mining. Towards the end, or later in the mining, historically, they swung across to the A2 and started exploiting that. We are looking forward to drilling out the A2 and the A3, 4 and 5, and would be an easy exercise with our owned mining fleet to swing across to that as well in time. So plenty of exploration potential. We see some fantastic exploration upside going forward. So things are really turning around there. The gold processing plant, 180,000 tonnes per annum. We've got a very professional team operating that as well, and we're getting about 98% recovery the last couple of weeks, partially because of very high grades. So I guess nothing more to say on that. Great team, part of the local community, all local employment. Lovely part of the world to actually work in a mill at MALDON. Some of our guys have ponies. I won't talk about the New South Wales exploration. Unfortunately, I'm completely out of time, but it is a backseat to the rest. It's getting harder and harder to find people to work at the mill these days, but Dylan's enlisted some local help with his children here, holding about $1.5 million worth of gold. So, look, I think that finishes my presentation. I'd just like to finish on one very, very final note. Like I said, market cap's 28 million, and I think some readjustment is in order. Thank you very much.